All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the April 28th Board of Directors meeting of the Costa Mesa Sanitary District to order and invite everyone to stand and join me in saluting the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. Vice President Uten.
Oh, thank you. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Okay, Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Director Nicole Wiltshire. Here. Vice Secretary Arlene Schaefer. Here. Secretary Arthur Perry.
Here.
Vice President Robert Uten.
Here.
President Mike Schaefer.
Here,
Thank you.
Late communications,
None, sir.
no ceremonial matters this evening as well.
No.
Public comments, this is the time for anyone in the public who would like to address the board on items within our purview, but not on the agenda for this evening. You have 4 minutes of comment time. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Seeing no one, then we will move to the business of the consent calendar. Are there any items that any director, member of the public, or staff would like to pull for a separate discussion?
Move it.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to accept the consent calendar is unanimous. No public hearings this evening. General Manager's report. Scott, item number 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our current agreement with the County of Orange to dispose our waste at county landfills is expiring on June 30th of this year. All the jurisdictions in Orange County, all the cities and special districts that have a WDA agreement with the county, those agreements are expiring on June 30th of this year. As you've been informed previously, meetings, the county is proposing or wants to increase the tipping fees at the landfills, which is the amount, the cost when we dump our trash at the landfill. There's a cost per ton that we have to pay to the county. The original proposal, original tip fee was quite enormous, quite large, and fortunately, the Orange County City Manager Association successfully negotiated an extension with the county to continue negotiations on those tipping fees. But before we do that, we need to extend the WDA. And so that's before you tonight. So you need to, the staff is recommending to approve the amendment to extend it for 1 more year, and then we can continue negotiating with the county on a tipping fee.
Just for the benefit of the new director and maybe for someone in the public, can you just basically describe what a tipping fee is?
Sure. So every time we haul our trash or seen our hauls or trash to the county landfill, they weigh the truck, and based on that weight, they charge us a cost per ton. So right now, I think it's like $42 a ton. With this proposed amendment, there was a CPI increase. I think it goes to $44 a ton. So it's based on that tonnage cost. But that tipping fee right now, it's going to increase pretty high. How much, we don't know yet, but it's going to be more than CPI, that's for sure.
You have a rough amount that it's going to go to, just to?
No, I don't. I don't know. I met with county officials last week, and we're still in negotiations of what that amount's going to be agreed upon.
So what you're asking us to do tonight is merely provide a 1-year extension to the current agreement.
To consider approving the second amendment to the waste disposal agreement with the County of Orange.
And since I'm here, I might as well speak. You can't stop a
Counselor, you're
lawyer.
always welcome to speak.
Well, you know, we lawyers. As your general manager noted, this is a countywide impact. County of Orange surprised everybody with the steepness of what their shortfall was. I mean, it's quite dramatic. The city managers group, which involves everybody who's participating, not just city managers, wanting to deflect part of this kind of nuclear hit that would have came up with this program. Every city and every special district is adopting this very same agreement. Strength in numbers, we'll all have the same rules. Our message to the county is, you know, the old Nathan Hale, we'll all hang together. So this is something that you're part of a county-wide public agency pushback to try to control and manage these rather surprising costs.
I know Scott's been very active in representing our part of it and the county, the group's part of it with the city managers group. So we appreciate you doing that. I know it's been a lot of time for you. Okay, discussion, Bob?
In the budget, I think we're talking about fee increases potentially on the sewer side and on the solid waste side. Is the solid waste side first? I mean, is it,
Yes, the solid waste study will be done next fiscal year. Yes, and then the following year, the 26, 27 would be the wastewater study.
and this is an extension, but it's not an agreement to what will happen after the 1 year. How will you know what to recommend to us for the solid waste study?
Well, again, we don't plan on doing the study until 2026. By then, we're hopeful that we can come to an agreement in October of this year. So we will know what that tipping fee will be before we go and form an RFP for the solid waste study. So I'm hopeful by the end of this calendar year, we'll have that information for the board and the board can consider that action.
Okay. Because it's a long process to implement fee changes.
Right, and all the cities stress that, and especially stress that to the county. That's why we negotiate an extension for this WDA, because we inform that it takes time to notify our public with the Prop 218 hearings, town hall meetings. You know, we need to educate the public why the increase is gonna happen. And so the county fortunately recognized that. That's why this extension is so important.
I move approval.
Second.
Before we take any motion, I'll ask if anyone from the public is here this evening. I don't have any cards, so anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll close public comments and then we'll go.
Okay.
You want to do that again for me, Bob?
Yeah, I move approval of the item to extend the contract by a year.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, then you have unanimous agreement.
I have a choice.
When does that get? We're gonna tell them immediately. I mean, there's no delay in getting this to OC Waste. I mean, we just.
This with the City Managers Association. So the agreement's going to be going to the ad hoc committee, and they're going to take all the agreements and give it to the county. The county's been informed when the city's special districts are taking this to the board. In fact, when I met them with last week, I told them we were going to be considering this today. So they're well aware.
I got a quick question. Is the city of Costa Mesa city manager involved in this also?
No.
Shouldn't they be?
They should. I don't know how involved they are in it. I know when we had the liaison committee meeting, Raja did approach me, the public works director did approach me and ask me some questions. So they are aware of it, and that's they're not in the dark, so they know about it.
That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
I'm sure they know what's happening.
Yes.
In essence, the city council is gonna do the same thing we just.
Yes. Correct. Yes. Yes.
They have to approve or disapprove. All right, thank you. Item 2.
Thank you, Mr. President. Marissa Pareto will be giving his report.
Good afternoon, President and Board. Per the First Amendment to the agreement between the district and CRNR, CRNR can request an annual CPI rate adjustment. This year, the change in CPI for Los Angeles, Long Beach, Anaheim for the 12-month period ending in February is 3.1%. The report includes the current rates and the proposed rates with that 3.1% adjustment. The rates that the district pays to CRNR include the occupancy fee, which covers operational and administrative costs for collecting, the recycling fee, the landfill fee, and the organics recycling fee. Something else to note on the report is that CR&R's rate adjustment does include the additional cart fee. So per the 2018 agreement, the additional cart fee was set to increase from $9 per month per cart to $10 per month per cart. And that was set to be an automatic adjustment after year 5 of the agreement. CR&R does remit 80% of that additional cart revenue to the district. The proposed 3.1% CPI adjustment and the additional cart rate increase are both included in the proposed preliminary fiscal year 25-26 budget that we presented. Staff recommends that the board consider approving CR&R's 3.1% rate adjustment request, and I'm available to answer any questions that you have.
Have a quick item. In the letter from CR&R, it says summary of adjustments CPI. It mentions 3.30%.
Yes, so it was initially submitted with that higher percent. It was an error. CR&R corrected the attached rate sheet. So that correctly lists 3.1% and all of the corresponding rates, but the letter does have a different rate on it. Yes.
All right, discussion? Question?
As long as both agree, it's pretty good.
Anybody
Yeah.
from?
Any comments, Julie, or,
All right,
I'll second
I'll make the motion to approve.
Let me
Uh,
ask the
public
public,
comment,
if there's anyone from the public who can speak on this item. Seeing no one jumping up, then we'll close public hearing and entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve.
it. I'll second it.
Motion and a second, further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to grant the 3.1% increase is unanimous. Just a quick follow-up question. The cart fee goes up $1 effective July 1,
Yes,
just like the increase.
yes.
Okay. All right, bear with me. Item 3.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this item regarding hiring a third-party contractor to pick up Christmas trees, this was first discussed at your preliminary budget review meeting on September 15th, and the board directed staff to bring this item back for today for discussion. So to give you a little bit of background, back in 2022, we had some issues with the Christmas tree collections where we received numerous complaints from the public where their Christmas trees weren't picked up at an appropriate time. Sometimes the trees were left out numerous days, weeks. All in all, we received over 100 complaints about missed Christmas trees. Now, put in perspective, that's only about 2% of the 5,000 trees that are collected, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but you gotta understand, we don't have a call center here at the district, and so when we get all those calls, it goes into 1 or 2 people. And so that's quite inundated work for staff. In addition to receiving those calls, then they got to follow up with CR&R, making sure that the trees are picked up. It's just an enormous amount of additional work for staff when we receive these calls. So to address that issue, during the contract negotiations with CR&R, both parties agreed to put language in the agreement that gives the district the authority to hire a third-party contractor to pick up missed Christmas trees, and then we can bill CR&R for that services. So we did that in 2023, and we hired a third contractor named Junk Smith, and they agreed to pick up Christmas trees at $35 per tree. So we entered a contract with them, but at the end of the program, we only received 2 complaints. So we were very pleased with the level of service that was provided by CR&R. So we did not have the third-party contractor go pick up any Christmas trees. We did not bill CR&R for the service. So we're very pleased with that. The following year in 2024, we believed that CR&R had all the resources, that had all the necessary equipment and staff in place, and we wouldn't experience the amount of complaints we did in 2022. While the number of complaints did increase in 2024, it wasn't alarming. It was less than 50, so it wasn't too alarming to us. And so again, in 2025, we did not hire a third-party contractor, assuming that, again, CNR has all the resources in place, the equipment and their drivers. But lo and behold, the number of complaints went back to the 2022 year. We had almost 100 complaints. So we probably would like to consider, hiring a third party again in 2026. It definitely worked well when we did use it. It just gives us another tool and resources to ensure that we provide good customer services to our residents. And so if the board does not want to do that, then please direct me. We won't hire a third party, but it's in our contract to do so. Otherwise, if I don't hear from the board, we'll continue doing that. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. So it concludes my presentations and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Have we addressed this question to the 1,000 people that we surveyed?
No, I don't believe so, but with our survey coming up, it's a good question we could ask coming up. We are planning to do a survey this year.
I think we asked questions around this item, but generally we get 95% approval.
Yes.
So we're apparently not asking those 100 people.
Again, look at the big picture. It's not a lot of complaints. I'm talking about the burdensome this puts on our staff. 100 calls puts a lot of burdensome on our staff. And even though it doesn't sound like a lot, we don't have that call center to handle that kind of volume.
So right now, if I call Costa Mesa Sanitary District, I get referred for trash items straight to CR&R.
Yes.
How do they get to staff?
Generally, the customers will call us directly. They'll either use our GoGov app, they'll email us, or they'll call us directly because they're frustrated with CNR, so they call us.
Yeah, it's like 0.5% of, we got 23,000 residences.
It's 5,000 trees, not 23,000. So not every household is putting out Christmas trees. You got to put that in perspective. So it's 5,000 trees.
The discussion we had earlier when we talked about this topic is we thought a lot of the calls were after the deadline date of when we were going to have pickups before.
No, it's not the case. No.
I think we established that in our thoughts that a lot of them were though.
I remember that.
You know, I think we didn't want to have the burden going to CR&R for something that if we want to have this done, it should be the cost to us, not CR&R. That's how I left it. And I thought that's the way we should proceed, but we didn't take any vote on that. That's just what I thought. I don't know if anybody else had any comments. I think that's a smarter way to go instead of putting the burden. They go to the date it's supposed to go. They pick them up all the way to that date. Then if we have a couple loose ones, they'll do it for us, but we shouldn't have them assess that amount. That's what I'm thinking, but I don't.
Typically, if a missed Christmas tree or if a customer calls in to request that a Christmas tree be picked up because they missed the date, that's not reported as a missed pickup. It'll be scheduled as a large item.
Yep,
So
but
that
those
wouldn't
people,
count.
those people don't say it's a missed pickup. They think it's a missed pickup, but it's past the date of.
Some will say, but some will also call in after collection is completed and say the tree's been out for 3 weeks. It was out during the pickup window and it's still there. And that would be considered a missed pickup if it had been out for those weeks.
We just don't know that. And that's what they say. Any other comments?
Just a couple quick thoughts. The thing about the charging for the mist is kind of the same thread that Art Director Perry said. Someone could not put their tree out. How do we know that the customer just didn't put their tree out and thought, oh, shoot, I need to get this tree picked up? So they call and say, they blame it on the hauler. If we could eliminate those, I bet that number would drop considerably. So we're penalizing the hauler for a convenience that we gave that the person themselves missed. I'm grappling with that. The other thing that is going to happen this year that's a little bit unique from every other year is now everybody has an organics recycling bin. Up until this year, how many didn't have, all the multifamilies, all those folks didn't have I understand the burden on our staff, but if there was some way to redirect those calls to go directly to CR&R, and if it's their fault, okay, they need to take care of it. Or we educate the public and say, hey, you've now got an organic, cut that tree up and stick it in your organic. That sounds like a lot of work, but you know, a couple of quick cuts, they might be able to fit that tree. It's gonna go to the same place anyway, right? So rather than institute this right now, I'd like to see what happens next Christmas when people now all have that organics bin and they have a second option from the pickup. And we put in our newsletters, if, you know, if you can't get it out for pickup, put it in the organic, cut it up and put it, you know, I can hear some, why do I have to cut my tree up? Well, go buy an artificial tree then. You know, I'm not trying to be overly negative, but I think we need to see how this is gonna play with the increased organic ability.
We can definitely forego hiring a third party in 2026 and do some additional research, pilot program to try to determine if residents are truly putting their Christmas tree out the day they are. Well, we can try to come up with something, but you got to understand this is the value of having an exclusive franchise agreement. When residents are at their wits and they have nowhere else to go, they come to us, and that's what they should do. And so that's when we hear them, they're at their ends with, they had enough. And without a exclusive franchise, they don't have that recourse. So that's the benefit of that.
Point well taken, Scott. You're absolutely right. I mean, we do have to respond to the customers. The Nordstrom model would say you do what you need to do, right? Fortunately, we're not at Nordstrom's yet, but I would just like to see how this is gonna play from a different perspective.
Let me sit down with my staff. We'll come up with a plan on how we can better track this, and then we'll share the results after the program again.
I would also ask you guys to work with CR&R and say, how do we get these folks directly to use so that our staff isn't overly, I mean, I don't know what other cities do. I mean, they don't. Julie, do you mind answering that?
Afternoon. Most all cities, everyone calls us directly. They don't have a middle person to go through. We get all those calls directly. But to Scott's point, if they've called 2 times or they didn't call us and it's putting out there and they thought it was going to be picked up and they're frustrated, yes, that's when they call the district. But the one thing that I was just thinking of as I was sitting here is that all of our trucks have video. So if we have any concern in that scenario that you mentioned, that someone says, well, my tree's been sitting out there 3 weeks and it hasn't been picked up, we can pull the video on the truck from the regular organics collection driver or any of the trucks, right? To see if in the video we can see a tree that was there that someone just keeps passing by every single week. The separate truck, we use more of a box van truck that picks up the trees or a flatbed, but the regular collection drivers, we've got 3 of them on the streets now, we can pull video to see from those drivers if we see that maybe they didn't really have it out for 3 weeks or they missed the window and they're saying that. To the point, Nordstrom's, we're gonna go pick it up. We get the call, it comes through, and that's on us. If Scott or Marissa or the team gets calls and they say, and they've called us for 3 weeks and it's still not getting picked up, that's a problem. I have a problem with that. Everybody has a problem with that. But if they call us, in most cases, once it's escalated to us from the district, we do go back and pick it up within 24 hours and it's off the curb. But I get the frustration. They don't have, we've got 60 people that answer the phone. They don't have that here.
Right.
But I like the idea that we talked about the last board meeting is if the district closes that week in between Christmas or New Year's, that there's a message that says, please call CR&R directly. And maybe perhaps we can do some additional social media campaigns that says for Christmas tree collection questions, please call CR&R directly to try to get them to call the phone number. I think the difficulty still is, I think some of the carts, older carts still have the district's number. The district does so much great outreach and it references for the most part, I think the district's phone number, maybe on some of the outreach material, that would be a suggestion that we have them call us directly and not burden the staff.
That's one of the things I'd like you guys to talk about. I just keep thinking about, I've seen them pick up the trees. In my, people who put them out in my neighborhood, obviously, it's hard to miss a tree. So that's why I'm thinking maybe somebody's thinking, oh, I forgot to put my tree out. I'll just call and complain. I don't, again, I don't know how many people do that. Hopefully none, but I know better than that.
It happens.
Yeah,
Well, can we expand the window for picking up Christmas trees? Like,
about 2 or 3 weeks.
yeah, like,
We changed it, Nicole, so it used to be the week after Christmas for 2 weeks. And then we realized, myself included, some of us keep our trees up if we can through New Year's. So then we realized that what was happening is we were getting so many calls after the original second week, so we pushed back the start time. And we don't start until the first 2 weeks of January. We eliminated that last week of December. And I think that has helped, and 2 years ago was the first time we did that. So I think that did help. We were missing, or people that thought, or they were putting it out early during that week of Christmas. And I think we did still get some of those calls this year. They still put it out the week after Christmas or the weekend after Christmas, and we weren't collecting till the following week.
I live on a high density street and we definitely have Christmas trees all up and down Santa Ana Ave until late January. So that's why I thought
Okay.
maybe if we expand the window of that period.
We can look at that.
And in multifamily communities, especially those with a dumpster, we're not getting any communication about what to do, like what the policy is. So.
Okay. I also want to say that CRNR's, I watched CRNR pick up the trees, and they pick up the trees, whether they have the bottom stand still on it and whether or not they have the wrap on the flock tree. CNR has been pretty good about that. And I've been out cutting the stands off the thing, so.
Yeah, if they're flocked, we just decided we're picking all the trees up, and if they're flocked because they go back to our facility, we just pull the flocked ones out and those go into the landfill pile.
I think we have a conclusion that their CNR is going to take care of the problem past the deadline. We don't have to hire a third party to do it.
And again, I think this will be a good test year for
Yeah,
that.
I agree.
And I'm sure next April we'll be talking about this again, right?
Maybe not. We'll see.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I still.
Like not.
You might, I hate to be, and I keep bringing this up, and I'm sorry if it's repetitive. But I have the microphone, so I guess I can be repetitive. For every Christmas tree lot in Costa Mesa, we need to go to Home Depot and Noonan's and some of these others and say, when you sell a tree, are you in Costa Mesa, Mr. Christmas tree buyer? Why, yes, I am. Here's some information about getting rid of that tree. How hard is that to do? You know, go buy a fake tree. Okay, Dan, you have your direction.
Yes, thank you.
I take it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Can't believe it's April 28th of.
Yeah, we got it fun.
Well,
Makes that.
also, I
You can take your tree down now, Bob.
We got a call today for Christmas.
Really?
Serious. A real tree up. Go plant it in the yard. Okay, let's move to item 4.
Thank you, Mr. President. So as you know, the district soon will be applying for federal hazard mitigation grant funds to hopefully fund our Eldon Force Main redundancy project, which is approximately $15 million. In order for us to be eligible to receive federal hazard mitigation funds from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, we have to have an adopted hazard mitigation plan. And as you know, we are participating in a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan that's coordinated by REROC, the wastewater response agency of Orange County. They put together with a consultant a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan that included Costa Mesa Sanitary District. That plan was approved by FEMA. I think attached to your staff report is a copy of that letter. Now that all that's being done is to officially adopt the plan by having the board of directors adopt the resolution, which is resolution 2025-999. Once that's adopted, then we can officially apply for those grant funds. So we need action today to adopt that resolution. Yes.
Looking through that list of special districts, obviously we're the only non-water, well, no, Orange County, since there's only 2. What about the other districts?
Uh,
They just not opt to
Yeah, Midway City's gonna want to do it their own, they want to go their own way. I think they missed the boat and they want, so they just did their own.
Bay City? Discussion?
You want to have a comment?
Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-9-999.
Second.
Motion by. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. So you just go ahead and take care of it with the We Rock at this point.
Yes, we'll submit the resolution to ReRock, and by the end of next month, we will be submitting our notice of intention to Cal OES, who administers the FEMA grants. So if we pass that hurdle, then we have authorization to submit the application, and then that starts the ball.
Say that again. Who we're submitted it to?
Cal OES, the California Office of Emergency Services, the state agency that oversees FEMA funds.
All for federal money.
Yes. Yes.
I mean.
We need it.
Are they saying anything about availability of funds? Not, I mean.
Nothing, again, from the training that staff attended, best case scenario, funds would become available, fall of 2027. Worst case scenario would be spring of 2028. So we're looking a couple of years away.
So there's a possibility then.
If we get through the notice of interest application, yes.
Okay, item 5.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lou Tran will be giving this report.
Yes, thank you, Scott. Good afternoon, Mr. President and member of the board. Today, I will be presenting the third quarter budget analysis for fiscal year 24-25. 1, 2. Hello,
Is that on?
can you hear me?
You have such a booming voice anyway, Lou.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Starting with the solid waste fund, the amended expenditure budget is approximately 8.6 million. As of March 31st, 62. Hello, can you hear me?
That's better.
I'll start over.
What's that?
Starting with the solid waste fund, the amended expenditure budget is approximately 8.6 million. As of March 31st, 62% of the budget has been expended. Staff anticipate a saving of 250,000 by year end, mainly from personnel and maintenance operation costs. The combined revenue budget for solid waste and general fund is approximately 8.6 million. As of March 31st, the district received about 5.5 million. Moving to the wastewater fund, the amended operating budget is approximately 6.5 million, excluding capital improvement projects. As of March 31st, 64% of the budget has been expended. Staff projects a saving of 255,000, again, primarily due to the saving in personnel and maintenance operation costs. The revenue budget is approximately 8.2 million, and the district received about 5.5 million to date. That concludes my reports. I'm happy to answer any question you may have.
So they're good. Got it. Appreciate it. Okay, move to item 6.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is your first quarter calendar report for our 2025 performance measurement report, and there we go. So all right. So this report is your quarterly report that you receive every 3 months, and it's just a program that staff has implemented to continue to look at improvements, the way we provide services. So if you have any questions, happy to answer. I'm not going to go in details on all the items in the report, but it's just something you receive every 3 months to continually show how we're doing and where we can make improvements.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If you look at, item number 19,
What's the topic?
it's on the cleaning processes.
Okay, page 9. Is it page?
It's an annual chart.
Yes.
And so when we get a quarterly number, there's no reason to put it on there. It makes it look like, we're not going to fulfill the annual thing. So I would recommend you just leave it off until the end of the year. And in the explanation, you tell people what's really going on. It's a quarterly number and it's plotted on an annual chart.
You're talking about our system clean annually?
Yeah.
So I do put a first quarter target goal on that chart. So so you could illustrate where we want to be in the first quarter. And as you see, in this first quarter, we did not hit our mark. Our goal is be the clean 25% of the entire wastewater. So we did 14%, and we gave explanation why that is. But with your comments noted, yes, we can do that. In fact, I am considering if the board's okay, I can bring this back on a semi-annually instead of quarterly.
It's an annual chart.
Yeah.
So, the 14% stands out and you've got an explanation for it. But then when you plot the point that's a quarterly piece of data, it makes it makes the chart look horrible. Makes, the performance is not up to par, which you can explain, and the 14% is red. But don't plot the.
Okay, duly noted.
Don't plot the thing until it's annual.
Sure.
You have a amount for the second quarter yet? Percentage for the second quarter?
Well, it'll be 50% in the second quarter, right? So by the second quarter, we'll be halfway, so it'll be 50% of the system should be clean. That's the goal.
Good.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Question on page 6, Scott, regarding the employee wellness challenge.
Yes.
So you had a little bit of a dip.
Yes, I think as we have more challenges, that number will increase because we only had one challenge so far in the quarter, and that's why we had 68% employees participated. But as more challenges become available, I think more employees will participate.
On page 7 for 2025, you have an NA. Is that simply because it hasn't been measured yet?
Yes.
Any other questions for Scott on this item? All right, we'll receive and file this as well. Overall, the trends look pretty good. All right, let's move to item number 7.
Yes, on item 7 and 8, these reports will be given by Gina Terrano.
Good evening, members of the board. So items 7 and 8 are both contribution requests that I have to present to you. So item E7 is a request submitted by Costa Mesa Newport Harbor Lions Club. They're requesting the use of 3 CMSD generators for this year's Fish Fry event on June 27th through 29th. Similar to previous years, approving this contribution will allow CMSD to host a booth at the event and educate the community about our 3-cart waste collection system and the solid waste and special solid waste and wastewater programs that we offer to customers. Additionally, the Lions Club would include us in their event advertisements and provide recycling containers at the event to encourage source separation. I wanted to add that the Lions Club has provided their proof of insurance to cover any potential damage to the generators, and that's been approved by our risk manager. So tonight, we're asking the board to consider approving this request. If you do wish to approve this request, our policy requires the board to make the following findings within the motion. The first is that the contribution serves at least one of the district's statutory powers. For example, solid waste collection, recycling, source separation, and wastewater collection. And the second is to describe how the contribution will advance our purpose. An example would be that it would increase district visibility by allowing the district to host a community event that educates, a community booth that educates the public about the 3-cart system and various special programs. So I welcome a motion if you have it, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Only if we put up a big sign or hand out a flyer regarding Christmas tree display.
I was just about to say, absolutely should.
I have a question.
That's big facetious.
It's a good idea.
Mhm.
Where's your location now? Are you inside the ballpark? Where are you located now for the stand?
I don't know that we've been given a location yet.
Yeah, where'd you go last year?
The carnival and whatnot, and a few of the food booths were in the carnival, in the ballpark.
Yeah.
And the adjacent area was, the beer garden and other thing, the entertainment.
Okay,
I
so
think it's the same as last year.
that main lawn.
Yeah.
on the main lawn by the
Right,
library,
right behind the,
is that where you went last year? You remember?
I didn't go to the event last year. I'm not sure exactly where we were.
behind the community center and then,
Because previous year, I mean, earlier years, we used to have it inside, the whole thing inside the ballpark. But so now you're using part of the outside area by the library?
Yes.
I'm curious, because I didn't attend last year.
Last year, they didn't ask for generators, right?
no, they did.
They did.
It was just a little bit muddled.
Okay. Actually, I did get a call from one of your,
Cabin.
I think so, about the insurance part of it. So that's all. Okay.
They finally figured it out, but.
Yeah, I like the idea. I just wanted to find out information.
I'll move the item.
Second the item.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the use of the generators for the vision.
What else did we have to add?
I'll move it, but I just wanted to, out of curiosity, it always goes to the city. It doesn't go to us.
What's that?
This one with the generators.
No, they've always.
Yes, it's always been, this has been years that they've used the
Yeah.
generators. Good, because I think our staff likes them being used.
Fish
'Cause
fry.
we don't use them that often. So it's good for them to have that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
did we miss anything with the amendment?
Yes, Board, you need to also, item number 2 on the recommendation, you need to make a finding of the contribution. So I think if you just state that, number 2, that should be fine.
Bob, you want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion also.
Finding that the contribution will increase district visibility and promote the district's purpose of recycling, source separation and waste collection and Christmas tree collection.
Well, we're there, we get a booth.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. Might as well hit them as much as we can, because most of the people are going to be attending Costa Mesa.
Okay, so we have a motion in a second that it meets the requirement and for the use of the generator. Further discussion, anyone from the public, anyone from the public? Okay, then I'll close public comment and all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, Jana, next.
Thank you. Okay, and item 8 is another contribution request from Love Costa Mesa. And they are requesting a monetary contribution of $3,000 to sponsor Love Costa Mesa Citywide Volunteer Day on May 17th. The district has sponsored this event in past years. However, the sponsorship levels have changed over the years. In 2019, we contributed to this event by renting 2 portable toilets for volunteers to use, and the cost for that was $380. And then in 2023 and 2024, the district sponsored the event for $1,000. And we were given an opportunity to host a booth at the event during the luncheon that the volunteers attend. This year, a minimum sponsorship of $10,000 is required to host a booth at the event. And that amount would exceed the district's sponsorship budget. We can have public comments if.
You fill out one of the little cards to speak. There's a little green card over there. There you go. But I'll make sure you get a chance to talk. Go ahead, Jane.
Sure. I was referencing the attachment, which shows the different sponsorship levels. So that attachment shows that between $1,000 and $4,999, those sponsors receive a thank you gift, a small recognition on their website, and a small recognition on printed event materials. And similar to the previous item, if the board wishes to approve this contribution, we have to make a finding as to whether the contribution serves the district's statutory purposes, and if so, how it advances those purposes. The application submitted by Love Costa Mesa states that the sponsorship will advance the district's purpose of solid waste collection and recycling because the event pairs volunteers with various community projects. Some of these include assisting Costa Mesa schools with safe removal of excess solid waste and landscaping. Additionally, some projects may include assisting elderly residents with removing excess waste that they're unable to dispose of themselves. So that's what's included in their application. I'm happy to answer any questions and allow for public comment as well.
I think we need to hear.
Well, I will, but any questions for Gina before? All right, now I'll open public comment. So we do have Rena. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Microphone's all yours.
Good afternoon, board and staff. My name is Raina, and I get the privilege to oversee Love Costa Mesa Day. I do want to make a correction. If you donate pretty much any amount, you do get a chance to have a booth at Love Costa Mesa Day. That $10,000 amount is for all of our events. We have a lot of our events throughout the year, and usually at that level, you're qualified to have a booth at every single one of our events. So if you don't know what Love Costa Mesa Day is, it's a citywide volunteer day. And this year we will have upwards of most likely 70 service projects. And we usually get about 12 to 1,500 volunteers that come out simply to serve. That's not included with any of our sponsors that are coming and our vendors. So we kick off the day at 7:30. So we actually shifted the morning rally to 30 minutes earlier to give some buffer time for our volunteers to make it to their project. So 7:30 to 8:30 is where we kick off at City Hall. And usually we have our dignitaries there, photo opportunities. We get welcomed by the local cheerleaders and song. And then the volunteers go off to their projects that Gina mentioned. Projects range from helping paint murals at school. We do a lot of landscaping work at the local schools. This year, we're helping upwards of 6 to 10 residents with different manual labors that they're not able to do themselves. We have projects, encouraging our local school staff, our senior residents, foster children, you name it, we've done it. So Love Costa Mesa Day, the volunteers, once they wrap up their projects, they can come back for the lunch celebration, where this year we have 6 local Costa Mesa restaurants donating 200 lunches each to feed every volunteer that comes out. We will have live performances from as little as a 5-year-old to senior citizens performing all types of things for you throughout the lunch celebration in celebration of Costa Mesa and its culture. And then, of course, we have all of our sponsors and city booths that our volunteers can enjoy throughout the lunch. So, thank you. Yes.
I have a question, Rena. What's the difference between $1,000 donation and a $3,000 donation?
At this moment, a 1,000, 3,000, it is the same level. The reason we ask for an increase of donation is Love Costa Mesa Day serves as one of our annual fundraisers to sustain the efforts of Love Costa Mesa. Love Costa Mesa Day is a one-day event that perpetuates year-round involvement. We are involved with every single school in Newport Mesa School District, supporting the needs of vulnerable families, staff. Most of you, I don't know most of you, but we have a year-round program that supports residents in need, vulnerable residents who are not able to do their own, whether it's landscaping. We've installed a lot of toilets, seniors who don't have working toilets, broken windows, broken doors. We do a lot of year-round efforts that are sustained through fundraising efforts such as Love Costa Mesa Day. So your sponsorship, your increase in giving not only perpetuates days like Love Costa Mesa Day, but supports and increases our capacity to do these year-round efforts for the residents of Costa Mesa.
I have one more question. That's the same as Labors of Love?
Labors of Love is the year-round program for our neighbors, yes.
Do you have the date?
For Love Costa Mesa Day, it is Saturday, May 17th. You're welcome. Yes, you're welcome. I also have flyers here. I'll leave at the table.
I have a question, Gina. What is, do we have a remaining budget left from, are we using it from last year's budget or going on?
This would be from the current year's budget. I believe I have it right here, so. Oh. Sorry about that. Yes, so we currently have a remainder of $4,500 in our sponsorship fund.
When does that end and when does it get advanced for the next year?
July 1.
Yes. Yes. The toilets was, I think, in 2018.
Oh. As much as, much as I'd like to give $3,000 with $4,500 left, we usually judge donations based on the number of community involvement and the impact of it. This one has, I think the application said 1,500 people attending. So I have a little bit of a hard time recommending we give 3,000, which is basically going to obliterate a lot of our contribution budget for the rest of the year.
Hmm.
So I'd recommend we match last year and give them $1,000 for the event, which still gets you a booth. Right?
I think maybe raise it to 1,500 might be more sufficient.
That's,
Just my thought. And we haven't talked about it all, but
yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
well, we're discussing it right now, but yeah.
I know, our Goat Hill Lions Club had a booth a couple of years ago. And it's really a good event. I mean, it's lively, it's active. And of course, I would have to say this, the food was outstanding. I mean, I don't remember which food trucks were there, but the food was it was really better this year.
Where's it stationed at?
In front of City Hall.
That's what I thought.
I assume it's in front of City Hall. Yeah.
Where do you have the parking at? In the fairgrounds?
Yeah, so City Hall, and then we have parking at Vanguard University.
Like they were last year?
Well, that's whatever you, this, go
I'll second the substitute motion.
Arlene would like to make a motion.
Okay.
ahead, Arlene.
1,500, make a motion.
I'll second it.
All right, then we have a motion to contribute $1,500 in a second, and you guys will coordinate with Love Costa Mesa for the booth and all that.
Yes.
Session, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you for your presentation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we are down to engineers report.
That's,
Good evening, honorable board. Thank you for letting me present my information this evening. This first item is for you to receive and file my monthly report. A couple of highlights. Project 341 Eldon Force Main Redundancy. We sent a 45% plans over to the city for their review and the Orange County Fairgrounds. I'm mentioning this to you in the event somebody contacts you or you get any questions. Please refer them to Scott Carroll or myself. One of the comments I already got was, that's a big project. We have to talk about it.
is that from the city?
Yes, it is. But they've had plenty of notice and we've been giving them information all along. So don't know why it surprises anybody over there. Mendoza Force Main, we're at about 90% design. We'll probably bid the project next month. I'm looking at some budgetary items because the price was a little higher than I thought it was going to be. But I'll bring more information next month on that one, but we're almost completed with the design. The project 354 Eldon fan improvements, along with, I'll say 347 Eldon odor scrubber. The fan improvements or the electrical improvements in order to install additional electrical systems has been completed. The odor scrubber is in, it's operating. The last activity we have to do is to basically balance the flow and the fan output to optimize that through the scrubber media, and then we will be fully functional. But I will say that foul odor is currently going through the odor scrubber for that particular project. Project 530, it's a sewer failure over at South Coast Plaza. We're doing an urgent repair on 2 pipelines over there. One's a liner that will be done, I'm going to say June. And then the second is a dig and repair. We've got about 20 feet of pipeline that needs to come out and get replaced. And that'll probably be completed this July. And then the last project I'm going to report on is the Irvine Harbor Pump Station electrical improvements. The project's out to bid. I met with prospective bidders last week. Their questions will be coming into me, or Nolani, excuse me, this week. We'll respond to their questions, issue an addendum if need be, and then we will award, or we will put a bidders list up on our website and potentially award to the low bidder. That concludes my engineer's report. Are there any questions?
Just real quick, project 350, the Hitchcrafter demolition,
Yes.
why do we have to notify the county? It says notice of completion was sent to the county.
Oh, when we, it's really, and you'll see one this evening. My next item actually will do the same thing we did for that particular project. But what we do is we file a notice that the project has been completed and that the bills have been paid on that particular project. And what the contractor does is basically advise that they have paid all of their vendors and that we have no outstanding debt against the project, basically.
I would just think file with the city.
Well, I think the county is who records the documents, because this document would be like recording a title on your house.
I just, that popped into my mind that, yeah, okay, thanks, Mark.
Mark, I got a question.
What I never seen before is the closeout agreement.
I don't want to say that's a new document, but our legal counsel advised that we should start doing that. So we've had several smaller projects, but this is, I think, the first large project where we have a closeout agreement. It basically, they sign a document after the fact saying that they've paid everybody off, and then they've agreed that they're going to, I don't want to say hold us harmless, but that's essentially what they do.
Okay, on project 530, is that still the South Coast Plaza project?
No, you're talking about project
530.
355 South Coast Plaza?
No,
Or are you
not-
talking about, 530?
Yeah.
Yeah, that project is a sewer project. It's on the north side of the South Coast South Coast Plaza property. We have several sewers on their property to serve some of the different areas within the mall. And we had experienced a failure in a couple of our pipelines. And this project, as you recall, I think we created this project about 2 months or 3 months ago, is to basically make the required repairs so that we don't have a catastrophic failure with those pipelines, with those 2 pipelines.
So this is a separate project from the.
Yes, it's a whole separate project from the 355 pump station, or South Coast Plaza Pump Station inlet pipeline that was a failure. Okay, second item. Let me get this other one out here. The second item, I will be asking you for four actions. And basically, T.E. Roberts Incorporated, they've completed the work. They've invoiced us for everything. I think our finance manager and our treasurer have funded so that we can finish paying everything off. And that work was done, I'm going to say mid to late February. and therefore the district must accept the improvements and file a notice of completion. So tonight's action, I'm asking that the Board of Directors accept the improvements as completed and file that notice of completion. Number two, exonerate labor and materials bond 35 days after notice of completion is recorded. Number three, exonerate faithful performance bond 1 year after the notice of completion is recorded. And number four, approve the closeout agreement that was attached to this agenda item. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on the 355 South Coast Plaza Emergency Sewer Replacement Project.
Need 4 separate motions, Counselor.
My understanding is you can do it all as one action item. The only time we have to have separate is when we're doing environmental impact report items. Those have to be a separate motion.
I'll second
Motion to accept the recommendations by Director Schaefer and a second by Director Cooper. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Is this the last time we'll ever hear the word South Coast Plaza?
No, we want to hear it. No, we don't. We want to hear payment.
Well, yeah, except for what Director Perry just said when we talk about help. All right. Mr. Davis, I think you're up. Treasurer's report.
Thanks, Mr. President, board members. This is your quarterly review of your portfolio. In the markets today, the Dow closed at 40,228. It was up 114 on the day. However, last time we spoke, it was up year to date. That's no longer the case. We're down 2432 on the year, down 5.7%.
Something happened to make the market go down?
Something might have happened, yes. There's been no Fed rate adjustments since December of last year. Inflation at March was at 2.4%. That's trending down from January. It was at 3.0% in January. All of last year ended up at 2.9%. There was an article out today, according to CNBC, that the president's first 100 days are the worst in the stock market since the Nixon administration. The S&P is down 7.9%. That was compared to down 9.9% under the Nixon administration. The average first 100 days of a new president, S&P is usually up 2.1%. That's not the case here. Looking all the way down to your portfolio, you're earning 2.826% at March 31. That rate is, our rates are up just a little bit due to more short-term investments. We did get, in April, we got the first large installment on the annual charge. All of that was put into LAIF. You'll see that on the next month's Treasurer's report, but all of that was put into LAIF and at earning a little bit better than 4%. So we should see next month, we should see the portfolio up above that 2.826%. Short-term rates are really staying high at the moment. The current administration has been somewhat at odds with the Fed on where interest rates should be. We think that they've or it appears they might have come back down off of that a little bit, but the time will tell. Literally every day is an adventure when it comes to the markets. From a class update, we currently have 4.71 million invested in class. Class as a whole has 1.87 billion invested in them. That was up 190 million from the last time that we had talked. And that's all I have for today. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
The market value of class has been higher than LAIF?
No, it's been higher than LAIF from day one.
Notice LAIF took a pretty big hit.
Yeah, and class has been higher just because it was formed when the markets were high. And so their initial purchases of investments were at a much higher rate than Leif, where Leif had all the investments already in the books.
So this is the time when I'd probably ask you to bring out your crystal ball. And I'm not gonna do that tonight, Mark.
What?
Because the
You could ask-
crystal ball is gone. But, anyway,
Somebody dropped it?
somebody dropped the crystal ball. I think that's a good way of thinking. Anyway, any other questions for Mark? Anybody?
I just think next time Mark comes, it'll be good news.
I'm sure Mark will bring good news next year. Pressure's on, pal. All right, we need a motion to accept the quarterly investment report.
I'll move that.
Second?
We have a motion and a second discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, Mark. Let's move to Mr. Curley. Anything to report this evening, sir?
Everything is fabulous legally.
The legal world's okay, the financial world, not so much.
You got to balance it out, but yes, exactly.
Would you mind sharing with the board and staff what you told me earlier about Alan?
Oh, he's doing well. He has rebounded and is in good spirits and good health. I get most of my information from his son, Colin, who's a partner. And last I heard, Colin said, AB's doing great. So AB's doing great. Well, we could take him out for drinks after if you want.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate you being with us this evening. Now that car is gonna buy, let's take local meetings. Orange County Sanitation District.
Art and I attended the second meeting on strategic plan this month. They in the agenda report, they had submitted their sewer system management update. They just completed their wastewater, I think it's 101 Citizens Academy, and I think they had 30-some attendees, about half of which showed up and got their picture taken with whatever councilman or district they represented. They're doing a digital asset management study, and we had a closed session on their 4 employee contracts, which they hope to get done by the end of June, which I think is the expiration date of it. I attended Waco, and it was on the Sykes Reservoir. It's north of Sacramento. It's a reservoir that's in the planning, and it appears that it's moving. And it'll take water off the Sacramento, north of the Sacramento River when there's a lot of rainfall. They have 14 miles of canals that go over to where the reservoir is going to be. So it'll enhance the California Southern, and it won't affect Southern and Central California's present allocation of water. And that's my report.
SARFA is it's this month on, no, it's next month on a Thursday.
My question is SAPA part of SARFA, or
It's
they're
separate.
two separate agencies?
Yeah.
The reason I asked is that OCOG yesterday morning, or the other morning, they had to appoint someone from the OCOG board to be on SAPA. And they picked Councilmember Fred Young, who's also on the Orange County Water District Board. So anyway, I was having.
Two different organizations.
Okay. All right. ISDOC, anything to report from ISDOC?
Nolani, did you get my sheet? You didn't get my sheet that I sent? Hmm. I'll send it tomorrow morning. Yeah, I went to a lot of them, but,
That's fine.
hmm.
Anything from CSDA? Didn't
Yeah.
abstain?
The SDA is, getting ready to go to Monterey now very soon, so
Are we sending anybody to legislative days?
no,
I'm not going.
no. Not even me.
SDRMA. Nothing other than the fact that we released the CEO last week. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. He was terminated last Tuesday. Somebody said irreconcilable differences, and I guess I'll just leave it at that, but we decided to take a new direction with SDRMA. So at this point, we have an interim CEO at SDRMA. It's Debbie Yakota, who is our chief risk officer. I had a chance to talk to her today, and she's still got her sense of humor, and she's going to need it. So I don't know if SDRMA will go to a recruitment process for a new CEO. Our president participated in the call when we terminated the CEO, but she was participating from LAX, was on her way to Sweden or Norway or someplace. So anyway, I'll keep you abreast of any changes, but at this point, we're operating in a good place. So I guess I'll say that. Some other meetings, liaison meeting. I know all of us were at the liaison meeting. Any thoughts or any from anybody?
It's a good meeting.
It was a good meeting. Next meeting will be at Mesa Water. I think they're going to do it at the Learning Center, which I think you'll all appreciate seeing. It's a nice place.
What street is that on?
Geisler. The end of Geisler where the park used to be, or
It's next to the MRF.
it's right next to the Murph.
Yeah.
I also attended, like I mentioned, the Orange County Council of Governments meeting. Probably the longest meeting of OCOG I've ever, it was 3 hours long. Yeah, part of it is there was a new chair and vice chair elected. The new chair is Councilmember John Gabbard from Fountain Valley. And the vice chair, I can't even pronounce her name. Maybe Michael can help me. Council member from Newport Beach, last name is Amelin or no? Okay. Anyway, she's from city council member from Newport Beach. But most of the discussion, I don't know if you remember a couple months ago, I had mentioned that at OCOG, we talked about the Air Quality Management District is going to institute some prohibitions on gas products, and the Orange County COG went ballistic. And of course, you've got council members from all the representative cities, and it was a pretty vicious attack on AQMD. So the director of the AQMD programs or something was there, and this nice lady got up to speak, and someone said, "We heard you were afraid to come talk to us." And she said, "I am petrified." She was scared to death to talk to the group. And they actually listened to the COG. AQMD actually listened to the COG, and they're looking at making some changes. Basically, they're focusing on hot water heaters and heating systems. And they're going to ban gas, hot water systems, and heating systems at this point. But they're taking more into account. They're going to do more research and everything. But it was a very interesting discussion the other day. And one of the interesting things was that the OCOG was so upset about was, what about the power grid? You know, if they're going to put everything's going to be electric. And the representative from AQMD said, look, We have talked to Southern California Edison. They think they can handle all this. And they're gonna move forward. There was no empirical evidence or anything that said, here's what we're doing to make sure the grid can handle all this. They just said, we think we can handle it. That's what Edison said. So the proof will be in the pudding, as they say. So, by the way, Mark, you were talking about the Nixon administration. There's several people here that probably weren't born during the Nixon administration. So he was president a while ago. So, okay, any other meetings anybody wants to talk about?
Yeah, I went to the Animal Services Committee meeting and they had a discussion about allocating resources to educate the public about animal services.
Really?
Mhm.
Good.
Is that
Quite
the-
lively.
Is that the one they come to the city council with?
I'm not sure.
Last couple of months, they've been coming to discuss neutering of any cats. I mean, there's a big movement on that for the city to be involved with.
I know there was a thing on the news about the guy up in Santa Ana that was killing cats. Did you see that?
No, yeah.
They found like bodies of cat and they released him. And people in Santa Ana in his neighborhood were not happy. So, that's pretty sad. Okay, if there's anything else, any director comments? Staff, anything we missed with anybody? Thank you all for your diligence and hard work. And with that, we are adjourned.
Very good. I wish you had your office though. I could see you.
I